Hey there, it's Mark here, presenter of the Talking Joe podcast. Now, I'm going to say something that's a little bit strange, and bear with me. The thing I'm going to say is maybe don't listen to this episode. What? You're thinking, but Mark, what's going on? Why you been talking craziness like that? You're gone coco loco in your coconut, innit? And I'd say to you, dear sir, that there is an explanation and a reason behind this. This is because the next episode that you may be about to hear was actually recorded as a live stream for YouTube. So we have pictures and audio working in concert together. You can, of course, feel free to listen to the show, but you will be missing out on a crucial component, which is the visual, as we will be sharing and discussing some images from my sketchbook. So maybe listen to this and then flick through the video to see the images that we're discussing, or have a look at the links that I'll be sharing to some of the images in concert alongside this. So why don't you head on over to the Talking Joe YouTube channel, search for Talking Joe in YouTube, or just follow the links from our social media or talkingjoe.co.uk. and just find the sketchbook videos. This is episode 2, the G.I. Joe special. But it's entirely up to you. It's a free world, isn't it? So without further ado, I'll shut up now and introduce myself. Okay. Here we go.
Live from the Talking Joe studios, it's Talking Joe.
You seem normal.
Whoa, Nelly. We're back, we're live, and you are watching and also hopefully listening to Talking Joe 2. It needs both of them together, really, to get this to work. I am Mark, the Funky Bunch, and this is the second of our sketchbook specials, where I'll be joined by some lovely co-hosts to have a flick through some original sketchbook art gathered from conventions over the year. So without too much further ado, let's play the intro.
Sketchbook, sketchbook, here's my sketchbook. I can show it to you if you wanna have a look. Sketchbook, sketchbook, here's my sketchbook. And now I will stop this song.
So, first out of the gate, it is my regular co-host, Tim, a real American Joe. A real American Tim, Tim Finn. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Internet. And hello, Mark.
Hello, good to see you again. And actually, while I'm on it as well, we can talk about the fact that while we've got some guest presenters, you, the listener, can also join in. So over on YouTube, in the comments section, you can add in your comments. And look, we can add them in. So there's my test one coming in. Good to, let us know you're watching. Let us know your thoughts on the stuff that we're sharing. Okay, second one coming through. It is the man. It is Chiefy Two Shoes.
Whoa! Almost knocked over a bottle of piss. How are we doing, everyone? I had a great... that's a deep cut. We had a great time on the show last week. Thanks for inviting me in. I'm surprised you opened the doors back, but I am here. I am glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of these sketches.
Excellent, good stuff. And without dilly-dallying, let's see who else we've got coming into our stream. It is...
this guy.
Hi! How's it going?
Chris Diagnostic AT McLeod.
That's me.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good. This is interesting. I like it. I'm loving this format.
Yeah, it's good to have you on board. You're the hardest working man in Joe fandom. You're dropping videos left, right, and centre. So yeah, I never knew there was so much content about St. Patrick's Day and G.I. Joe that you could possibly talk about, but apparently there is.
I'll find news in anything, mate.
You just make it up if need be.
I should tell the tens of thousands of viewers and in the future viewers who don't know who these two guys are below me, so for all the new people who came in to Talking Joe because of me joining the show, who are wondering who these two Brits are below me, they have previously co-hosted and also founded the Talking Joe podcast. So here they welcome them back.
Exactly.
Nice to be back.
I expected more fanfare. I expected more musical instruments. But
Mark and I can work on a jingle or some lyrics for when former co-hosts or founders return to the show.
I really love that Sketchbook song, by the way. That was hilarious.
Thank you. Yeah, when I last sung around you and called you rather rude and rather loud, it didn't seem to go down terribly well. So
yeah, you're correct though on both counts.
No, Jay. Where's Jay?
Nobody disagreed with that. I like that.
So Jay is currently experiencing technical difficulties, but will be with us hopefully at some point also.
Okay.
So yeah, before we get into the Sketchbook stuff, we could potentially just talk about one of the big bits of G.I. Joe news this week, which was, here we go, Mezco Destro. Woo! I know Chris has been talking about this already over on the Full Force, so check that out for the full and exhaustive coverage. Yeah, I've not been one to sort of go too far out of my lane in terms of toy collecting, but yeah, this is looking tempting. It's deluxe, going to be $100, but yeah, it's looking pretty cool. Out of the four of us, I was going to say, out of four of us who are likely to sort of put our hands into our pocket and shell out with this thing, I've
already
definitely
pre-ordered
one.
I pre-ordered it as soon as it came up. As soon as they dropped the pre-order, I was on it in a flash.
I think it's March 2022, isn't it?
Yeah, between January and March 2022. Yeah, it's a bit of a time to wait on that one, but goodness.
Yeah, I've got a couple of Mezco figures actually. I've got a Marvel Moon Knight and I've got a Batman Supreme Knight, and they are probably the best figures in my collection. Just the attention to detail that Mezco puts on these guys, not only with all the accessories, the multiple hands, the equipment, the articulation. You never kind of know what you're getting from the figure because they have these fully clothed figures which have been hand sewn, so you don't know whether you're getting double jointed knees or elbows, but everything that I've seen, articulation is not a problem. You're going to get it in all the poses you want. The face sculpting is fantastic, so I don't think this is going to be any different. This looks like a belter.
I've got a 112 collective Batman Dark Knight Returns, the blue, like the kind of not the actual grey and black one, but like the
blue one. Oh yeah.
With the old school bat symbol on it, and that is amazing. Like that is like simply outstanding. And again, that comes with like a stand for the cape, so you can basically like put this almost like like it's like fingers effectively that you can kind of move and manipulate and wrap the cape around, and you can get him into some of the most amazing poses. I think this Destro is outstanding.
Do we think they're going to do any more? Your fingers on the pulse of toys more than any of us probably. Do you think they'll do any more G.I. Joe figures, Mezco, or they'll see how this one goes first?
I don't even think they'll see how it goes. I think they've got others designed, others on the way in production. These kind of things take a long time to, January to March 2022 gives you an idea of how long this guy's taking to get done. But they have to have these things in production way in advance. I think this is going to be really successful, and I think they're going to do. Obviously, you're going to get Snake Eyes. No doubt in my mind, you're going to get Snake Eyes. You're going to get Cobra Commander, you're going to get Duke, you're going to get all of your classic core characters done off the bat. But I definitely think Snake Eyes is going to get done.
I wonder if Snake Eyes was maybe going to go first, and then because of the movie delay, the schedule got moved around.
Very, very good point. I agree totally with that. And also, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but Mezco put out a fan vote the other day for the next Hazard Squad figure. And one of them is called Death Adder, and it is effectively version 2 1985 Snake Eyes body with a snake's head. So I was kind of looking at that the other day, thinking, I wonder if like this is almost like a like a future look at a possible Snake Eyes. But we kind of discussed it, and we're probably under the like we could only speculate. But myself and Pat Stewart, co-host on the Full Force Weekly, we were kind of thinking maybe they're going to do something slightly different design wise for Snake Eyes, but it has to happen. There's like no doubt about it. And I think Tim's absolutely spot on. I think they probably would have led with Snake Eyes had the film come out last year.
Yeah, how solid are these figures? Do they stay up to a little bit? You've got to be careful with them.
Yeah, I think with some of them, like on this Batman Supreme Knight, actually, I've got him here, in fact. With this guy here,
Zoom in.
So he's got the wired cape.
Amazing.
You know, so you can get the full flared out effect of him jumping on the stand.
So
but
cool.
Things like in the elbows, because the suit is kind of slightly rubberized. If you're doing lots of this, I think you will see some wear and tear on the knees and the elbow, not the joints itself, but just the suit. And the rubberized thing, I think I've heard it happen on like the Black Series IG-88 figures where he's got rubber on the elbow, and that rubber just deteriorates over time. And I'm not sure if it will happen with this overextended use, possibly. But I mean, this guy, he has a magnetized head.
Oh wow!
To that helps to keep the cape on. So yeah, this guy, Mezco, Destro's in good hands.
Excellent. I've been won over. I think I will be putting in my my pre-order for that one. Tim, do you think you'll be won over by this line and venture out into a different sort of G.I. Joe collecting?
I have ordered not this for my store, but the Destro and Baroness. I think it's the Diamond Select Deluxe PVC, which were in Diamond previews, I think 1 or 2 issues ago, and I think they're They're $50 or $60, and they're not posable.
Is that the one where he's kind of running? There's a sort of broken wall behind him under gunfire.
You're thinking of the piece that's the Diamond Select Toys Destro diorama statue. The one Tim's talking about, I believe, is PCS. PCS collectible. PCS now. I forget what their name was originally, but that it's effectively that, but the letters of it.
Thank you for the correction. In the back half of previews, the toy section isn't organized in a way that makes as much sense to me as the comics like publisher section in the front half of previews.
Yeah.
We have a little glass case at my shop, which, like all the books and bookcases, is in storage for the renovation. And we don't really sell toys, but I've made 5 or 6 exceptions over the years for like the Sergio Aragones Mad Magazine Batman Black and White statue. I mean, that's not a toy, that's a statue. But that's so much fun. If it doesn't sell, it's just a fun thing to decorate the inside of the glass case. And then 6 years later, it's sold. That's
the long haul right there.
Well, I mean, you know, if you have a shop, you know, some things are kind of decoration. You might have some art on the wall that's not for sale. So with the Destro and the Baroness statues, I thought, G.I. Joe awareness in the next year is going to ramp up again because of this movie. If they sell, that's great. If they don't, they're a nice decoration for the store. But the Mezco one, I have a friend or two who buy really high-end action figures like this, and I enjoy them in their collections. like the Marty McFly and the like Iron Man 2, Black Widow. I forget who makes them, but
Hot Toys and stuff like that. And
thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. For sure.
Where's the sketches, man?
Cool. Let's move on to the sketches. So we're keeping it GI Joe. Oops. There we go. That was a bit of a preview, but yeah, we're keeping it GI Joe this week. Last week we delved into my sketchbook for some of the non GI Joe elements, but this time it is pure 100% GI Joe, and the first
I'm
one
guessing
out of
Recondo's
the
coming up.
gate is Recondo. Telepathy. So this one was from Roll Out Roll 2013 and is and good year, and was from Ralph Niese, who sadly left us I think November last year, and he was with one of the sort of the boutique toy
Bad Leg Toys, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, well remembered.
Did he have an association with G.I. Joe or Action Force before?
I'm not aware of a particular association. The big association there was that he was at a G.I. Joe / Transformers specific show and was drawing. So therefore lots of people were interested in asking him for G.I. Joe and Action Force related sketches, and he did quite a few cool ones. And I was, I just, no awareness of this guy, and just happened to see some of the things that he was sketching on through the day and thought, wow, this is like a really cool style, sort of this very sort of bombastic, in your face, bold, close up, very bright colors, very cool. And just again, it's a pretty quick sketch here, but sort of really a great a great portrayal, sort of unique to itself. It's not trying to be anything else, is it?
There's something in the foreground, right? His hand and part of his weapon, and he's got a cigar. So something unusual for a Joe, and something a little unusual for a convention sketch. That's sort of compositionally framing it like this.
Yeah, it's like you kind of if you know Joe, which I know everyone here does, but like like Recondo, the character. He doesn't scream to me like he has a cigar, or he's like this kind of style and the way he's been done is like a completely fresh new take on I think on the character, because it kind of screams to me almost like he's not a poacher, but he might be out there stopping poachers. Do you know what I mean? He just has that kind of vibe going on for me at the moment. But yeah, I quite like the kind of new fresh take on a character that has had like a decent amount of development in comics and cartoons.
Yeah, I like that idea of an anti-poacher. It does seem to be in keeping with that role that Recondo played with the Turcos, and maybe you've got Norgahide on one side as the poacher, and Recondo as the anti-poacher. Story possibilities. Yeah.
They have to fight fire with matching up the mustaches. That's what they have to do.
This is a slightly cartoony style, right? His ears a little big, his eyes are a little big, his features are a little big, and the inking says a little bit of cartooning because the lines get so thick. And I've said this in the regular podcast a couple times, when an artist sort of not normally associated with G.I. Joe, or drawing in a style not generally associated with G.I. Joe. Sadly, we can't have this, but I'd love to, if this guy had storytelling chops, I'd love to see him draw an issue.
And he's got, he's got really good control over not just line, but also, so you can see that, for example, he's got these really quite fine lines on his nose, much thicker lines sort of defining the features, but then the color, he's sort of just using this sort of pinkish for the skin tone, just very sparsely, just sort of so that we're getting this pure white reflection in
it's
all
a great
the right
great
places.
effect. Yeah, absolutely.
It's really, really well done.
Yeah, the white of the paper is the highlights.
Yeah, absolutely. And
let the paper do the work, right?
Gregory Wright, when he colored John Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson for the first 8 issues of Punisher Warzone, did this a lot, and I think he was following the pencils and inks. He was letting the white of the paper be the highlights. And in a comic like Punisher, there's a lot of muzzle flash to create highlights.
I've never really noticed all the guns in Punisher, to be honest.
Funny story. Cam Kennedy, who I know personally, he did this Punisher special, which was set in Scotland.
Blood on the Moors.
There we go. Yeah, in his Dark Empire style, painted style. So it looks very nice, but they were sort of questioning as a story point in England, Scotland. We don't really have a huge amount of guns going about, so when they were sort of getting to the Punisher getting his weaponry and the villains that he was going up against, they were like, tone it back, we don't have too many guns, But they're going, no, you've got to get the guns in the story. You've got to. This is a fun story.
Who wrote that? Was that Alan Grant?
Alan Grant, I think. Yeah, I think you're right.
And also, doesn't Punisher have a sword on the cover? Another. Am I just making that up, or is there?
There is definitely a sword. There's a mythical sword from this Scottish ghost that plays a role in the story.
When you can't find guns in the UK, grab a sword.
Yeah, let's see. Is it my shelf?
There was a Punisher cover that I'm trying to find at the moment. I can't remember what issue it was, but I remember we got it in the UK on like a holiday special, perhaps. And it was basically him with his back against the wall. And you could see down the side as you're looking at it on the right hand side of the page, you could see the Hell's Angels or like kind of vigilantes kind of like approaching him, like all kind of like a gang basically, like kind of approaching like with the subway in the background. Do you remember that? Like it was, I think it's been homaged since like a couple of times, like even on a Punisher Warzone cover as well, but I can't for the life of me find it. And I wasn't sure if any of the UK guys remember that as a holiday special. No. Or if anyone's watching and remembers what I'm talking about or knows what I'm talking about, let me know, because I've been looking for that cover for ages and I've probably dreamt it.
Okay.
What's the next sketch, Mark?
Yeah, the next one I was just gonna flash up on the screen. Ooh. This print Ralph Niese produced as a rollout roll call exclusive, which focused in on Baron Ironblood and the Red Shadow team, again in his quite bold, cartoony style. Very nice.
I really like that. What I really like is obviously the homage to the packaging, the Palitoy packaging, where you got the red, the yellow, and the blue. But then rather than it being just a straight, line, which it was just a yellow stripe, effectively, he's kind of, made that like lightning stripes, like lightning shapes and everything. And I just really like that. And I love that the little bits of lightning kind of coming off it. So it's like it kind of looks a little bit electric and a little bit more vibrant. So it's really nice. I really like that. The only thing that kind of makes my eye kind of go a bit funny is the fact that it's not like you don't have another character on the right hand side to kind of make it a bit more symmetrical. But that I think that's more to do with the fact that I struggle with that, like not in an OCD way, but like those things, they stick out to me a little bit. And even if there are some aspects where composition doesn't have to be exact on either side, but in shots like this, like sometimes I think, oh, there should be another character over there.
If there were another character there, the logo might line up with their kneecap or their shoulder exactly. in an awkward way.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
I'm sure that they did it. Cool. Okay,
or you put the logo in the top right.
I'll take that.
We've got something, hopefully. Come on, computer.
I'm going to guess that it is Norgahide and it's the opposite version of the Recondo image.
Facing left.
Come on.
Instead of holding his gun, he's holding his warthog in the foreground.
I'm going to try opening it up again.
While Mark's having technical challenges, I'll point out... Never mind.
No.
Oh, that's a nice picture.
That's my family again. Oh, dear.
Yeah, you look a bit grey there.
Speaking of the...
So young.
Speaking of the black and gray Dark Knight Returns Batman, how about that shirt Mark was wearing in the previous image?
I missed it. What was it?
Oh, because you had been talking. It's the pose of Batman and Robin jumping.
The
from
silhouetted
Dark Knight Returns.
one.
They're not blacked out. You can see them.
Okay.
But because you had the figure.
Oh yeah, in a similar. I kind of did it in a very rushed similar pose.
That guy. There you go.
That guy.
There we go. So
Batman
got
seems
it
to be the
working.
go-to for all. It's like all Mezco purchases. Who has
They
what?
made like
Oh,
a
Batman.
billion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have got a lot.
Here we go. Here's the next
Ooh,
one.
There we go. That's nice.
This
Right.
pose.
Let me zoom in a little bit to hide his signature, so that
This pose recalls the original package painting pose. So it feels it's not only active, right, which is exciting. It's not only full body, which is exciting, but it's also, I don't want to say retro, but familiar.
Yeah, absolutely.
When did you get this one?
This was the same one. Roll call 2013.
I don't know
So-
who that is.
Is that Michael Collins?
That's right, Mike Collins. So
Nice.
who did a good amount of Action Force work and
Yes, he
specifically worked
did.
on a Destro storyline, which I think was called Down and Out or something like that.
Down and out. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Did you provide reference for these two artists when you had your sketchbook? Did they have reference in front of them, or did they remember the characters?
So I think for Ralph Nice, I said, here's a list of reference of various G.I. Joe characters. Choose one and surprise me. And yeah, I think I gave him like a printout of essentially, a handful of different characters.
He chose one and then he punched you in the face. That was a surprise, right?
And Mike Collins, I probably said, "Can I get a Destro? Do you need reference?" And I have a feeling he said, "I don't need it." I might be misremembering it. It was
Nice.
It was a while ago, but...
That is gangster. That is. I love that.
So this has been drawn with warm and cool gray markers, right? There's this almost an optical illusion where you look at this and you think that's in color. It's actually gray markers that have a tiny bit of yellow in them and gray markers that have a tiny bit of blue in them.
Absolutely.
You're right. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
funny how when, as soon as it flashed up, I saw the color in red. It's so weird that your mind, you're like, your brain fills certain aspects in, doesn't it? Like that, like you say, the familiarity is already there, and your brain like fills in the gaps. It's so odd.
Yeah, this is how good the Mike is here, and how good the tools he's working with is. I thought, this is a watercolor piece, but it's not. It's the Copic markers, I guess.
Yeah, or whatever brand he was using. It's probably Copics, to be honest. Yeah, as you say. I thought even though I would have been stood in front of him while he was doing it, I thought, that's probably grey washes with inks. But I think you're right. That is looking like Copic markers to get those greys, and particularly the yellows in the collar. It's working.
It's amazing that he's made the helmet look so chrome as well.
Yeah,
like it really stands out, doesn't it? Yeah,
a light touch to it as well.
Yeah,
let the paper do the work.
Exactly.
All of the artists who draw really well are offended by this idea of letting the paper do the work because they're the ones making the decision. It's like, no, I'm choosing to let.
I'm allowing the paper to.
Chief, how dare you?
To compliment my excellent work, but just love the way that the chain is kind of hanging. Even simple things like his left foot, just the angle that he's got the left foot just coming kind of straight down is an active choice, and it just makes the stance that much more sort of powerful, I think.
Yeah, but really dynamic considering he's effectively just bent knees standing there, but there's so much going on, like Tim mentioned earlier on, like that kind of the arms as well in the position that they're in, like, and it just really, it's a really nice, effective pose. Really, really good stuff.
Yeah, I've not seen that. I've seen most of Mark's stuff, but I don't remember ever seeing that one before. So this is cool. It's good.
Yeah, and the great thing about going to a show like Roll Out, Roll Call and some of the smaller shows is that often the artists aren't overwhelmed in the way that they are at the larger shows. So they're able to take a little bit more time over these things because they know that, okay, if I rush this one, then I'll be able to get onto my next one and, you know, make a little bit more money. Whereas I think he basically had the time to take a bit more time without then saying no to other people. So that was nice. And he was, I think, sort of working away a commission, a color commission for Gambit through it for a lot of the day as well. So
I love the fact he when you asked if he needed reference, he was just like, no, get out of my face. Get out of my space right now. I'm going to draw this in 10 seconds.
No, he did take a decent amount of time to do it.
You can tell it's really, really good. Yeah.
There we go. Next up.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Weston again.
So much personality.
Oh.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
This is like probably my favorite rendition of this character that I've seen anywhere, to be honest.
Do you know what strikes me almost immediately from this is the fact that he's made the left hand where the thumb, because it's more prominent and forward, he's made it slightly bigger. But it just works. Like everything is just, that's just fantastic. I love that. Yeah, exactly. See, it's bigger.
And I'm guessing this is one of those situations where you've gone up to Chris Weston and you've said, you know, will you do me a G.I. Joe character? He's likely said, I don't know any G.I. Joe characters. You've said, here's a few reference pieces. Which one do you like the look of? He goes, I think I can do something interesting with this guy with his big tat on his chest. And this is the result. So.
Yeah, you've nailed it, Chief. That is exactly what happened. Yeah, this
was Chief there? Was Chief standing next to you at the time, by any chance?
He might have been at the same show, to be honest. This was London LSCC. What's that stand for? London Super Comic Con 2014. Yeah, Chief would have been at that one.
Yeah.
So three things jump out at me. One, so much personality in the face, and so much gets added to this because he's leaning to one side or the other. He's not standing straight up and down or drawn straight up and down. You know, even if you don't know this character, you know this character from this drawing. Two, small but really effective use of spotting blacks. So the core shadow under the brim, past his nose, under his jaw, under the grenade, under his pouch and his lower hand, and then that reflected light on the far left of his neck, which adds so much dimensionality to a drawing which already had a lot of dimensionality. And then lastly, the original 10 or 14 years of G.I. Joe characters, there is, particularly in the first 5 years or so, there's so much elegance in the simplicity of the designs. And I never get bored of these characters. And as they get reimagined in newer comics or they get turned into deluxe action figures, there's a tendency to turn anything simple into something complicated, like, wrist gauntlets that just had a couple vertical divisions become like little computers or grids, or a strap becomes this like deluxe strap with mesh and like netting and fringe and all this stuff. And there's a lot to do with something as simple as like a backpack strap. It's like, no, you can draw like trim on a little pouch with a snap. You can draw a lot of detail into just a basic grenade, and you can make something out of a nondescript wristband.
Wristband, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and he's made as well. He's made him look thick and kind of big up top without having to draw big pecs and muscles, simply by several things, but just the way that the waistcoat is kind of arching a little bit gives that impression of bulk up top, and the traps and the thick neck, just without having to draw him looking over muscled, he's given him this stature. Fantastic.
This is also a little funny. The intensity, he's not crazy, but he's he knows he's an intense guy.
If you didn't love Gung Ho before now, there's something wrong with you. But if you didn't, then this is the one that turns the corner for you, surely.
Man, now I want a gung ho one shot drawn by Chris
Oh.
Weston.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
How do
That
we
would be
make that happen?
fantastic.
How do we make that happen?
You contact him and pay him a lot of money. Done.
Yeah.
That would be the main way. That would be the main. But Chris is an artist that doesn't just chase the paycheck. He will, he actively seeks the properties that he is interested in working on. So he loves Dread, and so almost exclusively he's been working on Dread for sequentials. So and that's because he just absolutely loves the character. So yeah, I think you'd have to make it worth his while for sure.
Well, or some pin-ups. We'll take more pin-ups. That's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a message in from Ben, by the way, who is catching it down the beach.
Hey.
well,
Flying intro.
to make this into a pun, hopefully the next drawing is Beachhead.
Or not. It's the Baroness.
Sand Scorpion. No, it's not.
Wow.
I think this is Dan Boultwood.
Bing, 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 bing.
Okay.
You got it. I think you were there for
Wow.
this one. You got something from him at the same
Yeah,
time.
I
didn't you?
I think I got something as well. Yeah.
Who
He's
is
kind of a smaller named UK artist. Hasn't done much sequential work. If he has it, I think it was for smaller publishers, possibly.
Yeah,
I don't know.
sort of
Mark
like
can correct me.
Yeah, I think he's done like his own self-published indie stuff, and yeah, so not necessarily such a well-known name. And yeah, I think the brief on this one was probably, can you draw the Baroness? I suspect it might be. I might have left it even more open than that. Left the book with him and came back to find this sort of bombshell sort of. I guess like like that, the sort of the nose art that you might see on a bomb.
Memphis
that kind
Belle.
of thing. Absolutely. How I learned to stop worrying and love Cobra.
So I'm not a fan. I love this drawing. I'm not a fan of GI Joe pinups and covers with like sexy Baroness or sexy Scarlet, because
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the over-sexualized stuff either.
that's not who those characters are, and it's not what GI Joe is, and it's awkward to take 2 or 3 characters out of all of. It's like do it for the men. It's like, but like most people don't want to see that, which proves why it's a problem.
Yeah.
But where it's more alluring and less sort of too sexy, and certainly when an artist can back it up with really good drawing and design chops, and then this is sort of harmless because it's in someone's sketchbook and it's not a variant cover. There's a lot to like here.
But
Yeah, I
also
like
it makes sense from a drawing perspective that maybe you wouldn't want to see your overly sexualized Baroness, but from a perspective of this particular illustration, if it's being drawn as like nose cone art for a bomber plane in that sort of oeuvre of art, then it makes sense that you're getting something a bit cheeky and cheesecake, because there's that tradition.
I want to see Gung Ho
Sorry.
sitting on it with his piece out. Honestly,
Love it. Okay, let's move on. Here we go. Another Baroness.
John Royle. Sorry,
His signature is relatively.
you can't really
common,
miss that
so-
though, can you?
but I got it first, Chris. Too slow on the buzzer.
Right, that's it. I'm on the next one. I'm ready. I'm ready to scream it out as loud as I can.
Where was
and
this
This
from?
was London Film and Comic Con 2014, because John Royle is
think I was there as well.
a Brit. Yeah, I think I can't remember whereabouts in the country he's based, but certainly on these isles somewhere. Yeah, fairly simple brief. I think that one was. Can you draw me a Baroness? I think he's not a person that is particularly keen of convention sketches. He does prefer to sort of take his time, sort of rough things out, and sort of because of that quite precise style that he tends to take.
I loved
yeah.
his cover recently on 278, the Frusenland issue, where it's got Snow Job and Iceberg and the Snow Cat. Oh my god, that is brilliant.
I
Like,
could
I really-
talk. Sorry.
Go no after you.
I
Tim.
could talk about that cover for 5 minutes, and I did. I'm gonna
You
close the
have,
door.
Yeah. I was just looking over to see if I had that one, but I've got the cover A.
So I remember last time. When was the last MCM convention that we went to?
I went to, I think, 2019.
20, maybe it was 2019, and John was there, and I said to him, would he like to come on to the podcast, and do an episode? And he said he was flattered for the offer, and under normal circumstances he would say yes, but he said because he is a bit more introverted and not sociable in a bad way, but just didn't feel comfortable going on, and the thousands and thousands of people that would have listened to the show, he politely declined the offer to come on the show, but he was he liked the idea of it. But
I think if Mark would have asked him, he'd have been fine. But because you walked over there with your big floppy hair,
who is this chump with his headbands?
Well, it was probably Diagnostic who was co-hosting at the time anyway.
Oh yeah, he was probably. Oh god, I'm not having him. I'm not getting on there with that douchebag. He probably thought.
So Baroness's glasses here are. Is this sort of shaped more like the first live action film? Because in the original toy, in that George Perez pinup in the Marvel run, she's got
proper round ones. Yeah,
proper round ones.
Yeah, that look is definitely my favorite with the round glasses. But I think a lot of artists choose to go a different way on that one.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice on that. Yeah, totally. And maybe he's gone with it to accentuate the style of the way he's doing her face. Like, the round glasses might not really come across that well with the way he draws and shapes the face. So maybe it was a choice based on that.
And the more artists that do that, the more reference when you're starting to look will have that on it. So a lot if you're just looking around and seeing how is Baroness normally drawn, more often than not you will see her with sort of the narrower or even pointed glasses.
I also like how John does covers where most of the time nothing like what is happening on the cover is happening in the actual issue. And I love that Law and Order one where they're fighting desert scorpions. Just like, it's the most random cover I've ever seen, but it's great. And I do like the stuff that he throws into his covers. So yeah, this is I like this Baroness actually. It's quite cool.
I'm seeing Jay's comment. Hi, fellas. Sorry I couldn't join you all this morning. Technical difficulties. Sad face. Jay, type in the comments what you think of these drawings.
Yeah, because I was going to say, we're looking forward to having you on the show, Jay. So it's a shame you're not here. Jay. Yeah, sorry, Jay.
Amazing. I was about to continue singing though. I was take a leave.
Yeah.
Jay ain't never gonna be acceptable. I'm just kidding.
Very good. Okay, let's move on to the next drawing. Here we go. Who's this guy?
Snake eyes.
Mike Meyhew.
Son of a
Mike
bitch.
Meyhew.
Come on, Chris, be faster.
I know. I have to look at the screen because the signature was so far away. But I wouldn't have got that anyway.
Yeah, he was still thinking about Mel and Kim.
I was. Dun.
So Mike Meyhew, where was this have been? This was London Film at Comic Con, the same show, 2014. He had.
Mike does the kind of photorealistic stuff, doesn't he? A lot of the time, the kind of like the Lady J, Baroness, Oda Cobra covers that he did recently.
Exactly.
Yeah, he did. He did the X-Men Origins Jean Grey one shot.
Yeah.
So he's, but he's much more known as a cover artist.
Yeah. What's his style like on interiors, by the way, Tim? Is it? It's not. It can't be. It's not photorealistic all the way through, is it?
It's quite similar. He is an artist who hires models. The way that like Alex Ross hires models, the way that people who like paint covers for Dungeons and Dragons novels, like hire artists, and they'll like
They often get me in just for the body for the
for the fat dwarf.
not the certainly not the personality. So this is
Flight Putt special.
this is interesting. This drawing in front of us, rather than Chris's physique or personality, is interesting because Meyhew uses so much photo reference, right? Taking photos of models. It's like when Alex Ross draws without using reference. It's interesting to see how it turns out, and to see that like he can draw like great poses and faces and lighting and textures. And I've seen so little of Mayhew's interiors or non sort of photo referenced covers that I sort of don't know what to expect from his more sketchy stuff drawn improvisationally. This is really fun. I like the shading, and I like the pose, the twist in the spine, contrapposto.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really interesting pose, isn't it? Yeah, and the way he's holding the sword as well, kind of like down low. It's definitely got that kind of traditional sword fighting kind of style to it.
I'm also happy to. Sorry,
facing slightly to the right.
Yeah. I'm the lines on his fingers and both hands. His hands start to flatten out and become abstract. And a comment I didn't make a few days ago on the previous episode about convention sketches is, to me, there's a sweet spot for convention sketches where I wouldn't want to contact the artist ahead of time and get in the queue. It's like, I've got 6 convention sketches for Saturday, like email me or PayPal me, and then you can pick up your drawing at the convention. I also don't want to wait in line for an hour, and I have done that. For me, there's a sweet spot where an artist is spending somewhere between 30 seconds and 3 minutes for a convention sketch. And I don't want it to be like $100, $200, $500 commission that takes an hour or 3, because to me, that's a separate thing. That's a commission, which they do if they want, evenings, weekends, when they're not at a convention. And at a convention, I want to see them draw the sketch, and I want this sort of optimum, I want them to be able to make as many convention sketches as sort of they can for the line, for the queue. And so where things get rough, fast, sort of unfinished, flattened, abstracted, like these hands on Snake Eyes here, that's totally fine, because this is not a page of art or a cover, and this is not a fancy commission.
Yeah, you're right. It's like almost like a snapshot from that, that artist's like, straight out. Yeah, there's definitely more kind of intimacy to that, and you want it quick. You're right. Like, you don't want them. They don't want to be sat there doing something for hours on end when they've got a huge queue of people. Yeah, it's a weird thing, convention sketch stuff, and especially the way it's gone now, where people are like, right, these are my slots, and you pay in advance. It's just like taking all of the interaction out of it, and you can't stand there and you can't talk to somebody and like have that thing where you vibe, you kind of feel each other out, and then both of you know exactly what you want. Like, you may have talked it out. You may not have known what you wanted from an artist until you've spoken to them. So yeah, I get that completely, Tim. I totally agree with you on that.
But for either an in-demand artist at a convention, or someone who just doesn't want to disappoint people or has a hard time sticking to their egg timer, like 5 minutes per sketch, 5 minutes per sketch. Organizationally, I understand an artist at a convention simplifying things. It's like, if I only give myself 6 slots or 10 slots per day, I know what's expected of me. If I just show up and I'm going to do shorter sketches if there are more people, and longer sketches if there aren't, that can be stressful, and it can be harder to sort of budget. It's like, okay, I want to make $2,000 this weekend, so I'm going to do 10 sketches Saturday, 10 sketches Sunday, $100.
Very good. Yeah, this was relatively quick. A quick one, and I think, as I mentioned before, this was London Film and Comic Con, which is a strange show. So sometimes the artists who are in demand is almost entirely unpredictable, and also whether they're there or not was potentially unpredictable as well, because there was a lot of it's one of those shows where there's a lot of late announcements and late cancellations, and also late nights on a Saturday night with late mornings, people coming in on a Sunday.
I miss conventions. This is just making me sad.
So we missed the opening sort of preamble with our sort of experience of conventions for you, Chris. What's your experience been like in terms of attending various conventions and particularly collecting sketches? Is that something that you tend to do when you go?
Well, my experience was kind of molded, I guess, in that I'm really close friends with Nick and Mass at In Demand Toys. And they obviously, they're a big independent toy company in the UK. And in fact, the first show I ever did was Auto Assembly, which was one of the Transformers. It was the show that was before TF Nation, effectively. And I remember being in the store, and I'd known Nick for a couple of years. I've been going in, I've been buying G.I. Joe, Transformers, and stuff like that from his shop in Norwich. Everyone in the UK will know what Norwich is, but I don't think many people in the United States will. And basically, he said to me just out of the blue one day, he said, "Would you want to come along? Do you want to help us?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So this started this ridiculous, like every convention they did, which was like MCM, Memorabilia, LFCC, Kapow, when it was being run, the Mark Miller convention. What else did we do? We did the local conventions. We did Auto Assembly, like I said. We did everything that was at that usually was like a pop culture convention at the London, the Docklands. What's it called?
Excel.
Excel. Thank you. Anything that was at the Excel, we did, and the celebration, Star Wars Celebration. So I got really spoiled where I would help I would work the weekend and effectively just be in early, get to look round everywhere before people turned up, buy things off other vendors, because we were vendors, so it was always the kind of unwritten rule of if you wanted something, you could just speak to the vendors about it early and buy it there. And so I got really fortunate with that kind of stuff. And I would get sketches from artists. I have good friends who do that stuff as well, like John Paul Beauvais, who I'm really close with, and I would often just get stuff from him, even though we're really good mates. I'll just be like, okay, yeah, I need something. I need some more stuff. He does some great. He does a lot of like coloring and inking work on Transformers covers, and also interiors. He's been doing 84 Transformers 84 recently, so he's really big fan of his. I think I've got about 6 or 7 convention sketches that he's actually coloured. He was at one time he was actually colouring them digitally and printing them at shows. Yeah, he's a machine. Cool. He's a machine, and he's really funny, lovely guy. But yeah, I've often, if there's been an artist there, especially if they've been connected to like Action Force or G.I. Joe, I've tried to at least have a meeting or see them and speak to them and stuff. But and most of the time I'll either buy something that they have, there, like a sketch they've already done, like prints and stuff, or I'll I have had the occasional. I've actually got, especially since I've been living in the US, Kate and I go to a lot of conventions in the US, and we've built up this huge folder of like artwork, prints and stuff like that we bought from the shows, and I've got loads, but maybe that's another episode down the road sometime.
Yeah, sounds great. Let's do that down the road for sure. Cool. Next sketch. Will this work that came in? So here we go. Will this work, or is it the end of it? Oh,
just looking at my face at the moment. Sorry, guys.
Oh yeah.
Let's all group together and get Mark some StreamYard lessons.
I think I probably just need a faster PC, so that'll be nice.
Let's all
if you
group
can
together and not buy Mark a faster PC.
Ah.
Let's let him do that by himself.
Let's set up a GoFundMe for a better Wi-Fi connection.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, that is what I'm talking about. This is the content we come here for.
Wow. Is this also Chris Weston?
Guess the artist.
That's Mark.
Oh, wait,
Is the
Mark.
artist.
There we go. That's Mark.
It is Jay. So
Oh,
this was one that that Jay did for us. That's
Brilliant.
marvelous.
Brilliant.
Very good, sir.
The mouth is perfect. The big smile there is absolutely fantastic.
That's
I
great,
love
Jay.
That
Very
is
good,
a great
sir.
rendition. Very
Can
good,
we
Jay.
critique the crap out of it? Considering I'm kidding. That's really good, man. I love it.
I think this drawing is a handsomer, more youthful eyes, twinkle in the eyes,
Yes,
better
yes.
hair than the real cheese. So Jay, you have done a really nice job of capturing an essence and yet exaggerating the best parts.
Yeah, an idea.
This is a pre-COVID reference. I believe.
He did not have good source material to work with, so he's done a great job here.
It's fantastic.
There we go. Tear it up, Chris.
Tear it up. I will burn it.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Have you
stuff.
got another GI Joe one? In all seriousness,
I've got to the end of the GI Joe ones in this particular book, but
Cool.
I have prepared some emergency content. Should we want to
Nice.
carry on and
go on.
look
Let's
I
do
want
one
to
more.
look at
Let's do one more.
Do
Okay,
16
let's,
more.
Okay, let me shuffle this screen so I'm taking this out and I can get it queued up, ready to go.
Pick a
Okay.
sketch, any sketch.
Yeah, let's go with this one.
Chief shifting headbands. Nice one, Ben.
Cool. So yeah, that's the end of that sketchbook, but I've still got
Okay.
lots of non-Joe stuff in that book, and yeah, GI Joe stuff abounds everywhere else. So yeah, plenty of content to share once my computer starts working.
Like I said on the previous episode, I'm 100% stealing this idea, and will be doing my own sketch / commission based reveals on Armour Geekdom, and we'll probably be inviting all you good fellas on to discuss the art if you so
Sorry,
choose.
I'm busy that I'm afraid. Can't do it.
I
What day were you going to ask me to do it?
Whatever day you're busy.
have been known to talk about comic art
Mm-hmm.
for people who are listening or standing in front of me. If you come to my shop when the shop is empty and you are one of my employees or my manager, I've been known to complain about comics because there's a lot of bad comics, comic art, storytelling, covers, color.
That's true. That's true. They
Uh,
can't all be
but-
winners.
But for
Name all of them.
for public consumption, I want to keep it positive.
Very good. Okay, next one up. Here we go.
That's wicked. I love the
Oh.
art.
I think
Fun.
that was actually one that your brother got
Chiang.
at
It
Thought
is.
Bubble. And yeah, I think it's is it Cliff Chiang?
It is Cliff Chiang for Peter. You're right. So it was actually my brother's one, this one, but I had a matching one. Yeah, sort of.
What's
I
the
love the
what's,
eyes.
what's the TB on the bottom?
Thought Bubble.
Aha.
So that's one of the best Comic Cons in the UK. It normally happens around about November. Yeah, lots of very cool guests, and they sort of go for quite interesting mix of guests as well. So a lot of kind of the up and coming kind of indie artists and. All
What year
sorts.
was that, Mark? Sorry.
2014.
2014.
So this is at the end of, so Cliff Chiang drew most of the first 30, 40 issues of Wonder Woman after the New 52 launch. So he's
So
waist
this was
deep in Wonder Woman right now when he drew
I
this.
think at that point, yeah, he was pretty much getting to the end of it. Yeah, so he'd been doing Wonder Woman for a long time.
I
that.
really like this. I love the eyes inside. I think there's so much going on in there. There's kind of like this. I don't know that you can't really tell what's going on under the hood, and it's almost like a glimpse into this horrible evil creature.
He's got so much emotion out of what is effectively just a white dishcloth on his head, but like you said, the eyes is just really penetrating.
He's a little crazy, like seeking revenge, seeing something terrible that someone shouldn't be doing, filled with regrets because of some missed opportunity. And then the inking in the background, go ahead, Chris.
I think Destro's just using his tea mug, and he's just reacting as he would. Get your bloody hands off my tea mug.
For me, there is an ideal length, thickness, and sort of amount of volume to Hooded Cobra Commander's hood. And some artists and some action figures, it goes a little too far. The live action photograph of Cobra Command, someone in a Cobra Commander costume for the 1992 Impel trading cards, right?
Yes,
where
you're coming out the forest,
coming out of the 5 potted plants, right? You're not the only one waiting for G.I. Joe. An actual hood is a little hard to manage because where the shadow's hitting from the eye holes, can you then see the eyes? Is it hanging sort of too stiffly? It's like Batman's cape, right? By the time Batman Forever shows up in 1995, if Batman's going to zoom past the camera, let's just do his cape in CG, because then we can make it look exactly how we want. We don't have to worry about shadows and folds and like little strings maybe you can or can't see. And this is in my very narrow ideal sort of length for Hooded Cobra Commander's hood. This is in my low end of it,
right?
But it's nice, and it's just a little activity, and then the inking in the background. It's not rain, it's not a shadow, it's sort of whatever it needs to be.
Yeah, I think if you don't add I don't know. I've never had a rag on my head in this guise, but what happens with the bridge of the nose in terms of the way that it hangs? Obviously, I love this, but it does look like a Pac-Man ghost.
That's true, and I think that is Cliff Chiang's style coming out, in that his drawings are very slightly flattened.
Yeah,
like you look at his Wonder Woman's face, and it very slightly recalls like stained glass, or artists who abstract a little bit more. He's not drawing like the most rounded of circles and of spheres. So yes, there should be something going on with the nose, but so much of comics art is taking stuff out.
Hi guys.
To see that.
This is the one. He did me a gung ho at the same convention.
Oh,
cool.
Nice.
Cool.
That's really cool.
But again, like you say, minimal line art, kind of flattish, but he still gets still gets the job done.
Yeah,
there's just something
Cliff
really.
Actually...
I find there's something really charming about this particular Cobra Commander sketch. Like I think it's the fact that you look at the eyes and it's like this terror, horrible, like crazy, awful. But then the hood does, like you say, look really kind of like cutesy. Do you know what I mean? So there's like this kind of like battle going on in my head as to whether this is really evil or really funny. I can't tell which one it is.
A drawing like this also engages us differently with a G.I. Joe character, because they're action figures, and the package art and covers and certainly the interiors, right, are mostly full body, and they tend to be action poses. And we very rarely get a portrait of a Joe or Cobra character, like the Gung Ho sketch that Chief just held up. You can get like a really satisfying like Frank Quitely Batman portrait, and like we all know Batman, but so much of Cobra Commander, I think, for us is sort of wrapped up in like the voice from the cartoon, or like these sort of dramatic villain poses, or like him holding a gun as an action figure, or the Hector Garrido painting where he's taking a pose with an explosion behind him. And to have this sort of quiet moment externally, but this very active moment internally.
Yes,
it focuses us.
Yeah,
That's
good,
the
good
perfect
shout.
explanation. I just say stupid things, and Tim explains it in perfect ways. So thank you, Tim.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Cliff sort of ran quite an interesting process for his sketches for this particular thought bubble, which is essentially he announced them on social media. He said, "I'm going to be opening up a list for my sketches for Thought Bubble. Contact me via my website to request it. What I will be doing are these sort of A5 style pictures."
That makes a lot of
So
sense as
quite,
well. Yeah, yeah.
quite small. These are, sort of that sort of size. And a shot. Just tell me the character, and he'd not been over to the UK before, so very in demand, and the list went literally, I think, 5 minutes.
They weren't super expensive though, were they? They were. How much were they? They were $25 or something. Or
I think they
have
were
I got
more
that wrong?
than that. I think
Okay.
they were more. I don't think so. I think it was just probably pitched at about the right level of price. He probably, given that they went so quickly, he probably could have gone a bit higher. But yeah, it was
Awesome.
like enough to make you think, but still, still definitely worth it. So that was Peter's one, and I got one at the same show, which
Mark, you did just say it was headshots only.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay. That's another way to keep things simple for.
Yeah,
Exactly. So here's my one.
Ooh.
that's awesome. I like that.
So Baroness, again, rectangular glasses, looking quite intense. There,
I wonder
in the
who's
eyes,
using
and
her
it's-
tea mug.
Destro.
Destro, stop! Get your own mug, Destro. You're an arms dealer. Jeez.
There's only one mug to go around the three of them, I think.
What is the year that Cliff Chiang's G.I. Joe #1 Baroness variant cover was published? Is that before or after this sketch?
It was, I think it was before. So actually, I was going to flick. There he is.
Oh, neat.
Oh, there he is.
Holding it. There's Cliff. There is a really small
Tiny,
Wonder Woman.
tiny
There is
Wonder Woman.
there is the Wonder Woman. Sorry, there is the cover.
Baroness, yeah.
That cover art, and
This
there
is-
where it actually appeared. So it was on the cover to the.
Can you go back to the black and white one?
Yeah, I was. It's just when I sort of zoom in and out that it sort of goes a bit funny.
Oh, okay.
And obviously, this cover, sort of people definitely like his take on that, because he's subsequently done. These aren't mine. A couple of other sort of sketches of the G.I. Joe characters there. So there's Scarlet Baroness Troopers in the background. That looks like it's 2011.
The Cliff Chiang cover with the red background and the his tank, right? In black and white or in color. This is a perfect example of drawing a character who is already sexy, right? The Baroness is established as sexy and not amping it up, right? This is not over sexualized. This is not exploitive. And this actually is a pose that the Baroness would take, right? I think leaning against his tank. She's not like bending over to emphasize anything. And so this image is, right, and a friend of mine who draws comics used this word when we were talking about sort of stuff that's oversexed.
Yeah.
Alluring. The Baroness here is alluring. And so Cliff Chiang, he hits this sweet spot. And yet it's also a really strong piece of design, because he's leaving like 2 or 3 major areas for just a flat color. You have this really strong black in the bottom third, and then it's broken up by this really strong black that's more active with her. And there's just enough of the 788, and there's just enough of this sort of rounded triangle on the side of the cockpit that we know what this is. And this ends up being there's like 5% like Chinese propaganda poster, or like Russian constructivist propaganda poster in here, and yet it is just a G.I. Joe cover. It's not like onward to victory.
Yeah.
Also,
I agree. I was
just
totally
going to
agree.
say, interestingly, this one was done 2009. It looks like. So I think it was done a number of years as a private commission prior to then being reused as an instantly iconic cover image as well. Yeah, very good decision, whoever was able to wrangle that one.
Big time.
Very cool.
Cool. So that was, I think, everything that I was going to share. And I've got those. I'll grab it from across the other side. I've got those Chiang framed.
He's got the human being framed in his,
Cliff Chiang. Cliff Chiang signed at my store. And neat.
I like that.
Yeah.
Very good.
I
think Sam has just joined just as we're ending, but good to have you on, Sam. Tim, yes, please tell us the story.
Cliff Chiang signed at my store, and this is the one time we've done this, and I want to do this again more often. He and our other guest and some friends at the store and the employees and I then went to a karaoke bar. And I don't know if Cliff Chiang probably doesn't remember me. He might vaguely remember the store. He was in Boston for a convention and he signed, I think it was the night before. But I have blurry photos of Cliff Chiang in a very large private karaoke room, which I've sort of been meaning to send to him, because after I take photos of people, I don't really post photos on Facebook to say, like, here's a thing I did. I tend to just sort of send the photos to the person and say, like, oh, that thing that we were involved in. So note to self.
Send me the money, or they go on Facebook. Yeah.
Note to self: send Cliff Chiang those photos from his signing and karaoke. I don't remember what songs he sang, but there's probably an angle where we can see the screen and then figure it out from the lyrics. Nice guy, very nice guy.
Amazing, cool,
very cool. Yeah, so that was all I was planning to cover, but I think there's lots more ammo in our art magazines, if that is an analogy that works, to be firing at you, the audience, in future episodes. Tim is
that means Mark will be showing more of his sketches.
Oh, right. I thought he was going to shoot us with art. I didn't realise that's what that meant.
So maybe even we might see some of Chief's own art there. Ben's saying Chief is actually an amazing artist, but never draws. His toe jam is
Earl.
famous.
Not sure about that.
Chief, have you drawn some G.I. Joe characters in a sketchbook or so? Okay.
No, Ben is wildly misremembering when I drew on my bedroom walls as a kid. Like, I got permission from the parents.
Right.
But yeah, no, I was drawing like, sanctioned. But I got sectioned, probably more like it. But I was drawing full on, 1 or 2 3-foot big murals on my inside bedroom walls, which I have got some pictures of, which I will post up. But they were okay. But I'm not.
Can you draw me like one of your French girls, please?
Yeah, it's already in the email, ready to hit send.
Thank you.
Right, excellent. So let's reconvene at some future point, and we can look at some more art together and discuss it. So that would be cool. In the meantime, let's see who wants to promote themselves first. So Jay can't be here, so I'll promote him on his behalf. You can check out Jay at his break room sketches over at Facebook. Where can people find you?
Find me at realamericanbook.com.
And
Chris, I think people can find you everywhere.
I force myself on everybody in the internet. Full Force Podcast. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and also Podbean, iTunes, and Stitcher. So yeah, check us out. News bursts, weeklies. Just dropped one today, actually. Weekly dropped this morning. So yeah, check that out.
Lots of interesting news this week as well. Chief, what about you?
Head on over to YouTube, type in Armour Geekdom. I'm going to be reviewing this new Boba Fett Deluxe. See if I can get this review out today. He's only just arrived. If the missus lets me, she's probably already in a mood with me because I spent too long up in the loft, but we shall see.
And you can find out more about us, the regular show, all of the links to the to podcasts and information and photos and more over at talkingjoe.co.uk.
Mark, what's our next podcast episode?
So we're dropping this recording next, and then after that we will be reconvening to continue our disavowed read through. So we will be covering the arc of G.I. Joe by Image/Devil's Due from 2002 approximately, which started in issue number 6 and I believe runs to issue number 9. So yeah, looking forward to reading that and discussing that very shortly. But in the meantime, when all's said and done, we will see you down the road.
Because we've been talking Joe.
And we're all out of Joes.
Full force.
Yeah.
Very good. And what did I do next? I did something. Where was it? It was
He's still
this.
going. This man can't be stopped.